All right, welcome back to the Sandy Woods Podcast. This is episode 9, and we got a special guest on tonight. We got a different look. We've got a guy in studio for the first time, so should be fun. Got a lot of questions for him, a lot of things to talk about. So this is Will Barber. Will, tell us about yourself a little bit and your background and where you're from and your hunting story.
Well, right here from Chesapeake, went to high school with you guys, and just was fortunate enough to grow up in a family that had a nice farm in Southampton, and was able to, been hunting there ever since I was little. Started hunting when I was 2. My father started taking me when I was 2. Got a BB gun when I was 4, and killed my first deer when I was 7. And it's just been like an addictive drug that I've never been able to let go. Been fortunate enough to kill some nice deer, nice turkeys. It's one thing that just is near and dear to my heart, and I think about 24/7, 7 days a week. So it's that's about it.
You're in the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on, man. This is gonna be fun.
This is cool. I enjoy it. This is really nice. I appreciate y'all letting me come out here.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun tonight. What you got?
Who I got? I'm Talon Wall. You know who I am.
The goat.
We got a nice little picture of Will up there. When did you kill that deer?
Probably 5 years ago. I shot him with a muzzleloader right there. That was, I think, around November 9th or 10th, right there at the peak of the rut. I had 3 does run by me and stopped right in front of me. He come run up right up there behind him. I shot him.
That was a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did some
good deer.
stalking to find some pictures.
Yeah, we went digging deep. We went all the way down to
I shot that deer, I think it was November 9th, about 11:30, and right in the middle of the day. And
wow.
Had a long sit, and it paid off. Like I said, I remember 3 does come run up there and stop about 40 yards in front of me. He was right there behind him.
And that makes a good point, too, from the start. Me and you talked about when we made this podcast, we wanted guests on, right? And then
right.
What was one of the first names that came out of our mouth? It was Will, right? Because just following you on social media, seeing all the bucks you've killed, you're freaking tagged out before dog season a lot of time, which is cool. But it just makes a good point. Like, how many hunters are going to stay in the woods till 11:30 in the morning, right? A lot of them are 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I'm hungry. I'm fidgety, right? So you got to put your time in.
Anticipation. You got to anticipate that he's going to be coming. 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, middle of the day during the peak of the ruts, when the big one's going to be up moving around. You catch them on spray blinds, rub lines, checking fields, cutovers past. They'll be up cruising in the middle of the day.
You ain't got no stub on your face there.
This is a long time ago.
Yeah,
that's a hammer though.
That is. Yeah. That was a good one.
That one, we were holler hunting or man driving, like y'all call that, and shot that one. That was 10.24.5 inches wide. He was just slipping out the back end when I shot him.
You said 20.5 inches wide?
24.
24. Holy cow.
He's not very tall. I mean, he's a nice deer, but he doesn't have a lot of height to him. He's got good mass and good width, but as far as the height, he doesn't have the height. But I mean, a good buck.
Yeah, man. You got to take him, especially as a 10-pointer.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it was a nice deer. I was happy with him. For sure. I'd shoot that deer any day of the week.
Yeah, look, check that out.
Yeah. That's 2
studs right there.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm looking forward to here.
Yeah,
it ain't gonna be long.
They were gobbling. Heard them yesterday morning a little bit when it got warm.
Warmer days, man. Might be like last year and have an early spring. Last year seemed like a lot of the breeding got done before turkey season started, because turkey hunting last year, I'm not saying it was easy, but man, if you could hear them gobbling, they could hear you. I mean, we killed 9 at my farm in the first 7 days.
That's wild.
Killed 3 open a day. It was. I think that the spring came early and they bred earlier in the year.
Yeah.
So the hens, I think, were kind of already breaking away from the gobblers, sitting on the nest by the time 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Right.
You can catch them.
Because normally that opening weekend is tougher because they're with all the hens.
Yeah, they're roosting with them. They're staying with them majority of the day. I mean, it's it can be very challenging for sure.
I just realized you were wearing a Ferguson. That hat is sick.
Yeah, I got this.
Shout out, baby.
Is that your design on the side there, the camouflage?
Google.
Yeah.
You've
gotten good at it, man.
Oh yeah.
It's creative.
This is the last picture we got of you.
Yeah,
that was a nice little tall deer you got.
Yeah, it was a 10 point. I got him mounted in the office. We shot that one holler hunting. I was actually driving and jumped him and shot him right in front of me.
That's a good feeling.
As soon as he jumped up, and if the deer would have ran to the right or the left, he would have got away. But he ran directly away from me, and I shot him and broke everything in him and knocked him down right there.
Yeah.
I remember,
it was just us 3 holler hunting that day.
Man, I remember. We don't have a picture of it, remember, what was it? Was it, Logan? It was Logan Schmicky.
Yeah, he killed a huge
He
buck.
killed, like, it was like
27 and a half inches wide.
Doing the same thing?
Dude, it was
15
like,
point. No, we were dog hunting,
Oh.
but we had been
It's
getting
a
pictures of that
giant.
deer all summer long. Knew he was in there. He kind of fell off, and this was before cell cameras. We were just having to pull SD cards every weekend. He kind of fell off right there around the middle of October. Still on the farm, just wasn't in a food plot that we had been seeing him. And then we finally got onto him the second Saturday of deer season dog hunt, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and got onto him and managed to kill him. It was a very nice buck. It was 27 and a half inches
Yeah, I
wide,
remember that.
15 points, had a bunch of kickers on it. It was a nice buck. I
I'll
probably
get-
never killed another one like that.
I'll get a picture of that and we'll throw it in.
That's a
I've
dream
got
buck.
tons of trail camera pictures if y'all want it.
Oh, yeah,
Just
we'll throw it up on the
beautiful.
podcast. And
Yeah. Show
sense of what
it during
we-
this episode,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was his first buck.
Yeah, that deer kind of looks like Talon's deer there. You know, I was just
yeah,
looking.
we didn't even bring that up.
You know, that's a deer right there that'll fool you. Got really white, tall horns, but as far as the width and the mass, doesn't really have it. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's tall and got plenty of bone up there, but you know that's probably a 3.5-year-old deer. In 2 years, he would have been a monster. But you know,
Yeah,
when deer's
especially
running
where we
that,
hunt.
and when they jump
Yeah.
up, you know, you got to shoot.
It's hard to keep them where we hunt. You know, you
Gotta
just
shoot.
never know.
Yeah.
You know, surrounding areas
Well,
and
you're only as good as your neighbors. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
neighbors are important.
Yeah.
And you make a good point. You got your buck back today.
Yeah, before we do rapid fire, it looks a little.
I don't know if any camera can see that, but we'll make sure to.
So you're
Papa.
saying that I didn't set up my camera so I couldn't.
So if what that means is it probably can't see you if it's tilted that high.
I don't care. I wanted to show them all.
The buck's more important.
There's no better feeling, especially when you go to get a deer mounted, and you kind of forget about it.
Yeah.
And then you look down and you see taxidermists calling. You're like, oh hell! It's like Christmas all over.
Oh, yeah.
again.
I mean, that's quick too for pulling to get it back
Oh,
that
hell
quick.
yeah.
That's fast. I mean,
I mean,
Lord
I-
Mercy's first week in March.
Yeah.
I shot him. I shot that deer October.
Oh, you shot him early in bow season
October
before he got
15th.
slammed up. Yeah.
Yeah, and he had some hammers in there too.
Yeah, he gets some big.
He did me dirty a little bit. He put him next to these.
Man.
Really tall chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to see how big your buck is, go into a taxidermist.
I
It'll
know.
humble you
I
real
know,
quick.
yeah.
Yeah, pulling. He's based out of Suffolk. He does a really good job. He did that deer, and he's done my other two European mounts. He does a really good job. I want to have him on sometime.
Could be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
So if anybody's
Pulling
757,
Pulling taxidermy.
he does a great job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's get this thing going. We gotta. I guess it'd be quick and kind of give a little bit of a rundown what you think, but it's going to be one or the other. Rapid fire.
Yeah, baby. This is the first time doing this.
Yeah, this is new. I don't know how to.
We got some.
I've got the.
We got some debatable topics.
I just noticed this. I tried to find a graphic for a flame, and that looks exactly like the Tinder one.
Just hope our girlfriends don't see
So,
this.
I mean, you could either pick either or. You can swipe left or right.
Right.
And you gotta say it really fast. You can't think about it. You know, you just gotta be like whatever pops up.
Right.
All right, here we go.
You gonna say the say it out
You
loud.
want to run with dogs? Don't tell me what to do. Fuck off. Run dogs or still hunting.
I'm still hunting every day of the week.
Okay. You like a wide deer or a tall deer?
I would go with tall because they, you know, when the horns come, when the beams come around, you know, they look pretty. I'm gonna go with tall.
I don't have it up here, but are you going white horn or dark horn?
White.
White. I like that. Compound bow, crossbow.
You got them wrong, I think, but
Come on, man. You got one job.
Man, I made
One job to make this PowerPoint.
I made this
compound.
out like
I'm gonna go
11:30.
compound. Compound.
Compound. It's a little bit more rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
Choose your skill set. You a morning hunter or evening hunter?
Both, but you know, if you really want to see deer, have a good chance at seeing deer, and you know, staying on deer, probably be afternoon. You hunt, find a food source, hunt around it, and be all right. But I mean, both. I mean, they're both. They can be beneficial, but the afternoons, as far as
It's hard. It's hard.
a
To
little more.
pick.
Well, as the evening progresses, you know the hunt's going to get better. In the morning, you're slipping away from the good time, unless you're in the rut in the middle of the day. But I mean, if you want to see deer and stay on deer and be satisfied, then afternoons.
I didn't have a graphic for this one, so I didn't know what to look up. So you going to bed early, or are you the type of dude that It's like you got your buddies there. You're gonna hang around, drink some beers, and then go out.
No, I'm all about the experience. I'm there to hang out. The biggest thing about deer hunting is enjoying it with everybody and hanging out and having a good time. So I would choose the cocktail with my buddies.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that. I'm the opposite.
This is controversial.
Oh, this is where me and Talon differ.
Shoot does.
Are you shooting your does early, or are you shooting them late?
Both. I'll shoot does the first couple of weeks of bow season. Then once around Halloween, once the rut starts to progress, knock the does off. Not shoot any more does, and then pretty much after the rut's over, go back to the does. But from Halloween to Thanksgiving, I'm not shooting any does.
Turn the rut. That's a good answer.
Yep.
You hunting the cutover, swamp, field's edge.
I mean they're all.
What's your favorite? Or what have you had most success
I'll
with?
probably hunt, like we got a big creek bottom on our farm. But they're both, as far as, I don't know, they're all beneficial. Swamp bottoms and field edge. In the afternoons, field edge is probably better than swamp bottom. In the morning time, swamp bottom probably better. As far as eating acreage and stuff like that, I would probably just go with the swamp bottom.
Swamp, I like that.
Same.
I'd agree. This one's tough. Who's been hunting today?
What's up with the picture selection? I haven't even seen this.
Dude, I was just...
Hey, if it's brown, it's down, right?
I mean, this shouldn't sway your decision. I'm just saying, I just pick whatever
I love
picture
it.
I can find.
I might have been 12 in that picture.
No, I was 12 there. I hit puberty pretty fast.
Well, I think both y'all are fair deer hunters.
I like that. I like that
That was
answer.
his idea.
That wasn't my idea to pick those pictures, though.
Well,
if you're going to pick something stupid like that, I'm going to...
The thing is, I like to shoot. I like to kill deer. I like to chase mature whitetails and kill mature deer. But I'm not chasing inches all season long.
Right.
Like, I'm there to shoot
Right.
a nice mature deer and shoot some does. And if I shoot 2 big bucks, that's cool. We don't have the exact quality of bucks like you see in Iowa and the wind stuff like that. But we have we're fortunate enough to hunt in Southampton.
Yeah.
Sussex where there are nice bucks, but I'm not out there to shoot. I'm out there to shoot the biggest, but I'm not stressing myself out. Like I can only shoot this one huge buck. I'm there for more than.
That's perfect timing right there. Are you shooting or passing?
All right, so hold on.
Oh, all right.
Current, right? Obviously, when we were younger, we were shooting, more deer. It could have been smaller, but this is right now. Like,
And this is honesty. And do you want to set a scene for when this deer is?
Give me a scenario.
Yeah,
like I said, that there's certain bucks that I would shoot if the dogs were running him and he jumped across the path tall.
I'll tell you what.
An 8-pointer.
Give us an early season, yes or no, and a late season or dogs.
All right, that's fine. Yeah.
Yes or no. All right.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
We'll get into this topic another time,
Yeah,
but we'll just leave it at yeah.
Once I enter the fence, I'll probably shoot.
We actually have a good episode coming up on that
Oh
stuff.
yeah, that's.
Entered the fence.
I mean, come on.
What?
We'll save it.
We got a good food plot over, on the west side of the property.
That buck looks like you shot that one when it had to be around the rut. Look how thick his neck is.
Oh yeah, he was thick daddy.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like a nice buck. I mean, I'd shoot it.
Early season and late.
Would you shoot with bow? I mean, I'd shoot that deer with the bow for sure. And it all depends, I mean, he looks like he's.
He was broken off.
Mature buck. Yeah, I'd say I'd shoot it.
That's the one I had up here. He broke off, and I had the taxidermist to
Yeah,
put some plate.
Is that one right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can't let them all go. You know what I mean? I mean,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You're too picky.
You know how it is. You go across the road, go across the path, somebody else. But that's not doesn't give you a reason to kill them all.
Early season, late season. You shooting that one?
I would not shoot that one. Dog hunting, if he jumped across the path on me real quick and I just saw one side, I'd probably shoot him. But still hunting, no, I would not shoot.
Definitely not muzzleloader.
No, heck no.
Heck no. I shot during muzzleloader.
I wouldn't.
That's young talent.
Shoot that deer.
That's skinny talent there.
Yeah. Fuck you. I
Yeah.
look fucking good. Man. That was my
That was
Tinder.
10 years ago.
That was my main Tinder profile picture for a long time.
All right, keep going.
Yes, I'd shoot that one. That looks like a pretty mature buck.
So I saw him this year.
Yeah.
He looks pretty mature.
You want to hear something crazy about that deer? Nobody really hunted. I hunted I hunted the river's edge more than anybody this year, and nothing. Like, it sucked. And we planted halfway down, probably, I don't know, what is that, 1,000 or probably 800 yards, you would say. We planted all. What did we put there?
It was a little bit of wind. It was cereal rye and oats, a little bit of mixture.
That
Sorghum and muscle.
Yeah.
Dude, that deer, doe came out, cock blocked me whole time. Never gave me a shot.
Yeah, I'd shoot that deer. I mean, it looks like he's got a nice. It looks like he's definitely 4.5.
It was cold. It was cold in November, 22 degrees at 12 o'clock.
I like that.
That was good rut
Yeah,
day.
I'd shoot that deer, absolutely.
100%.
That was last year, yeah.
That was it.
I think, what that deer's 17, 18 inches wide. I think anybody's probably going to that tall G2s. It's nice deer.
Called him he was the big 8. We had him in the summertime.
Yeah,
that's a nice deer.
We had a bunch of pictures of him. He was.
Yeah, got him the second to last week of the season. It's
Really?
crazy how
that's a nice.
they can stay in there.
If you got what they want, man, they'll be around. You're not putting too much pressure on them. I'd shoot that deer with a gun for sure. I'd shoot him with a bow. I mean, that ain't a bad buck.
Yeah, he.
But that's one that'll fool you. That deer's only probably 14, 15 inches wide. But from the side, you can't tell. He looks like he's a bigger buck.
He's taller.
I shot him with the dogs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he jumps out sideways, now if he come running across the field to me, I might not shoot him if I could see he's only 14, 15 inches wide. But as far as jumping out sideways, I'm gonna shoot him.
Did you shoot him on the field? Running right through the middle of the field?
Well, I mean, if he's running dead at you and I can see that he's running right at me, he's not.
I'm just wondering. I forgot.
So I did not.
You were hungover.
This was opening day. I was out at.
You almost got in a fight over this deer.
Dude,
Club ran on the deer.
Really?
Yeah. Club ran us a deer. 17 degrees, 20-mile-an-hour winds.
0 hours of sleep.
0 hours of sleep. Was out at Bugatti.
Straight from the bar.
Dude, I was out at Bugatti till 3:30 in the morning, and I get home. You know what? I'm just gonna go home. It's opening day. I get out there, miserable. I'm in my truck. Kyle's like,
"What was this? A couple of years ago?
It's 3 years ago."
Dude, this was
2 years ago. Open weekend deer season.
Hell no. This was probably 5 years ago.
Yeah. Maybe.
And I'm in the truck. I'm so cold. Kyle's like, "Hey man, the dogs are running." I hear the dogs. I take off running down the field. And I'm halfway in the field, and this buck is running. I'm shooting. I'm cold. I'm hungover. I can't even call it hungover. I didn't even sleep. But I don't even think I was hungover. I was just tired. But smoked him. Hole in the head deer.
Really?
He's got a hole in his European mouth.
Really?
But that kind of, obviously we all like dog hunting, right? But that puts a good kind of summary of dog hunting sometimes. Yeah. I'm sleeping in my truck. I pop out of the truck. I'm running in the field, and I shoot a mature buck, right? I mean, that's why some people,
And they all can't be 150-inch bucks.
No. No.
They all can, like I said, in South Hampton where we hunt, we all are fortunate enough to have really good genetics where they can get like that, but they all ain't gonna make it.
We call it Little Texas, right?
And that kind of brings up the point.
Little Texas, that's right across. That's right now far mile.
Well, just the quality of deer. I mean, it's crazy being this close to the beach. If there was no dogs, we probably would be able to manage like a Midwest state.
Yeah. I mean, Virginia gets overlooked as far as whitetails, and the only reason people don't like to come to Virginia and hunt whitetails is because deer bed everywhere. They can come from 360 degrees around you. We have cut over all over the place. A buck in bed here tonight, bed 100 yards or 1,000 yards away.
Yep.
The next night you can't it's hard to pattern deer when we hunt. In the Midwest, 30 acres of cut over, the rest 400 acres of tall timber. You know where they're bedding, so you just kind of set up around and play the wind. But where we hunt, deer bed everywhere.
It's harder.
You can't, and you can't really see them.
Right.
There's not like. It's all open hardwoods. It's pine thickets. You got some open hardwoods, but deer bed everywhere, and they literally come from 360 degrees, and you can't really pattern them. And you can maybe in the summertime, maybe the first couple weeks of bow season, but other than that, it's hard to pattern. They get pressure on from hunters, dogs. It's tough. It's tough to pattern bucks. If you want to pattern one, you better try to get him the first week of bow season when he's still in that summer pattern.
Yeah.
Before that October lull comes in, acorns start falling, deer stay in the woods, and then you're waiting on the rut and then a cold snap to hunt food sources.
I don't know about you, but something I realized the last 2 years, like they're so patternable in September,
Well,
right?
that's what I'm saying. They're still in their summer patterns. They're coming out. They're
Right,
still herded up.
right.
Bucks are still hanging out together.
But it seems like that first week of hunting season, we had this happen to our big 9. He snapped right before that opening day, like into that, I don't want to call it pre-rut, but that little bit different cycle that he's on, right? It's still hot, right? He gets a little bit interested in does, right? He wasn't coming out. And obviously we stopped feeding, right? So that could have something to do with it. But, it's like they time it up perfect to not allow you to make that easy kill, right?
I killed a nice buck opening week of bow season last year. He was coming out into a food plot every day up until a week before bow season. Then didn't get any more pictures of him. All of a sudden that Sunday night, the opening weekend of bow season, that Sunday night, got pictures of him, went in there. No, it was Monday. Went in there that Wednesday, killed him that afternoon. But it's when they come out of velvet, the deer's testosterone start going up immediately.
Yep.
As soon as they come out of velvet, you get some does that'll come into estrus early. You get some does that'll come into estrus late.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as does start coming into estrus, man, they're going crazy.
Right.
And the bucks are starting to, their testosterone's rising. They're starting to break up. They're starting to figure things out. Then you get into the October lull, as everybody calls it.
Mm-hmm. That's the real thing.
I think a lot of deer during the October lull, like the deer are still doing what deer do, right? They're still moving. They're still feeding. The thing is, they're going from feeding like row crops, in a field, to the acorns are starting to fall. You're in the second week or third week of October. The acorns are falling. The white oaks and red oaks are falling. So a lot of the deer, instead of working on food plots where they're out in the wide open in fields, they're down in your creek bottoms and your swamps finding white oaks that are dropping, and they're staying in the cover. So people are hunting the field edges not seeing deer. That's because they're down somewhere else in the woods staying in the cover feed. They're still doing what deer do.
Yeah.
They're just not, again, it's patternable coming out into a field every night at 5:30 that you would normally see. They're tucked up in the woods finding an oak tree, hanging out underneath the oak.
That's why we had them on, right? We're trying to gain some knowledge for our stuff too, right?
They're trying to transition. They're trying to go from their summer patterns, coming at the bucks' testosterone are coming up. That estrogen starting to come out of the does. You get some does that'll come in early, but deer are still doing what deer do.
Yeah.
The oaks are falling extremely hard. Like I said, second, third week of October, right before Halloween. Even at Halloween, if I can find a white oak that's dropping a lot, I'm going to hunt around it because they're going to be around it. I know guys who will take rocks in their pockets up into a deer stand and just drop a couple of them every now and then because deer hear it. And if they're 150 yards away, they hear acorns falling out of a tree, they're going to come.
Smart. Never thought of that before.
That's one way you can kind of trick them. If you get around some white oaks that maybe aren't dropping, they dropped early, you get in there and just try to trick them a little bit.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, that's clever.
That's pretty
good. But that's what deer are doing. Instead, they're not coming out to a field. They're down in the cover where they're hidden, feeding underneath oak trees, getting them while they can.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Because they only last, it's only a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Then they start to rot. It doesn't take them long. You get some cold days and some windy days, the acorns, they hit the ground pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be back. You hit a cold snap, then they'll be back on the field and the food sources pretty quick.
It's crazy how quick it changes throughout the season. Strategies just change dramatically, right?
And some bucks, they'll, when all that stuff starts happening, you'll have bucks cross the street. You'll have new bucks come onto your farm.
Mm-hmm.
Bucks will leave, and new bucks will come.
Mm-hmm.
They're just searching for that first one to come around and get into heat, and then it's game on. They're scraping hard at that point.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They're scraping. But it can be challenging. You sit on the edge of a field, you might see a bunch of does. You might sit out there in a bean field and not see anything because they're all in the woods feeding on acorns. So it can be challenging.
You recognize that buck?
Yeah, I shot that one a long time ago.
Did you shoot him now?
No. That was old swamp buck I shot out there in Suffolk, and I wouldn't shoot. I think that was the first year I ever shot with a rifle.
Yeah.
And no, but I wouldn't shoot him again.
We had to go way back.
Yeah,
I almost couldn't see the buck. The graphic was so blurry. That's when it's a long time ago, right?
Took a picture with a toaster.
Yep.
That was
This is when Kyle was going into the military. He had the military haircut. And
that was a mountain buck. I killed that on public land in Radford, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The 10-pointer.
Yeah, that's all I see was shooting college.
Yeah.
Where you hit him?
I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up.
Give him a Texas hard shot right at the butthole.
So, you know how you are in college, right? You're throwing all your crap into your truck. I threw my crossbow in my truck. I'd sighted it in before I went back to school, but I'm just throwing it around. So I I shoot, it was an easy shot, 25 yards, and I had it on him. And I pulled the trigger and he dropped. I was like, hell yeah, I must have, Well, I thought so. And it moved a little bit right, and I hit him right underneath.
Oh Lord.
the throat. So I mean, he was making this god awful sound, and I got him. I'd hit something in there to where he wasn't getting back up, and I was slinging arrows at him trying to finish him off, and they were going all which way, and I'm like, oh shit! But finally he passed. But yeah, that was I think I had practice.
Big body on him.
Yeah. I had practice till like 5 o'clock. Got dark at like 6. I remember running over there, and I'm in my stand. You're like, I ain't gonna see nothing, right? And he come right onto the stand. That was good. But
that's when you say, "My name's Kyle Butler, and this is my story."
Typical, right?
Yeah, I definitely would not shoot.
Come on, man. This was like this year, wasn't it?
I got in trouble for shooting this one.
Yeah.
You know where that was?
I don't know, unless y'all have a gate or looks like something behind the shop, Paxton's shop or something like that.
Man, I shot that deer, and I shot a deer the day before, and I went out. I was going to go out. You helped me look for it. This was a long time ago. You went out there. We found blood, but he went into the nastiest. You couldn't get in there, and I went there to hunt. I was gonna look for him after. I shot. I feel so bad. I shot that fucker right off the doe.
He was melted on the doe.
Yeah, he was melted on the doe.
Yes.
And
he hit her too.
Nope.
He went out in good fashion, though. Good for him.
I pulled this thing up. There's fucking Caterpillar reps, and Boss Man was talking to him, and I'm just dragging a deer. I had nothing. So I'm just dragging a deer all the way from there, and I remember he looked at me. He goes, "I wouldn't have shot that deer," and I was like, "Yeah, I probably shouldn't have shot that deer." But hey, you live
and yeah, absolutely.
Live and you learn.
It can't all be huge. That's a nice one. I'd shoot that deer.
That was killed this year. That was
yeah, that's a nice one.
Southampton.
Yeah, your dad killed that one.
Family land.
He doesn't have much for brow tine. I've got an 8-point look just like it, about 21.5 inches wide. His brow tines are an inch and a half.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good deer.
Yeah, that don't turn me on. I want the long brow tines. You made that deer look good. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
I mean, look at the turn on the
I don't know if
he broke off his his G2 there.
His G2s are broke on both sides.
That was
That was the last week deer, yeah.
Yeah, that was a push.
I'd say that deer only looks like he's about 3.5. In one more year, he'd be huge. That's that one right there.
I was hoping you'd say no.
Dog hunting. I'm sure. If that deer ran by me dog hunting, I'd shoot him. But as far as if I really could look at him, like bow hunting or still hunting, I'd probably let him roll.
Well, if you listen to episode 2, I kind of explained it. It's like I thought it was a different deer because I saw the crab claw at 80 yards, and once you see a deer and you lock in, you're locked in. I didn't think anything else. Like I was like, okay, I verified that I thought it was him, and then.
Well, the thing when you make your mind up that you're gonna kill a deer, you might as well go ahead and shoot him. Because you've already made your mind up that you're gonna kill him.
I mean, the deer that he looks like is the same.
He's gonna pop up here in a minute.
Yeah, he's the same. No, I think that's it. I forgot to put him on.
Oh, okay.
We had a 10-point on our farm this year to look like that. We let go a couple of times, but it was still hunting though. I mean, dog hunting. He's tall, white-horned deer. One of those deer just look big as soon as they step in the path from the side. But as far as still hunting, you let them go. But like I said, that deer looks like he's about 3.5 years old. But running, I mean, I'd shoot him. I mean, like I said, if not, he's gonna run by the guy next to you. He's gonna say it's the biggest deer of his life. Just let him go by.
You got to, right?
And that's a huge aspect that we deal with people that lease and people beside us. Like you don't know what their definition is, so it's like you got to make your decision. Is this deer
you're only as good as your neighbor?
Yeah.
Amen.
Thankfully for us, we don't have many people that hunt
right
around us, so it does help out.
Yeah, we got lucky this year to formed some relationships with some guys, and we didn't have bad relationships before, but it was more of just kind of like didn't really talk, you know, a couple little encounters.
You get everybody around you on the same page.
Yeah.
You know, as far as what you're shooting, 15 inches wide, everybody wants to do a 5-gallon bucket rule. A 5-gallon bucket's only 12 and like a 3/4 inches. That's not
and
that's, you get at least 15.
That's a basket still, you know.
Yeah, I mean, try to do 15. Something just, and it's good because it just makes people, it questions them. Dang, is he big enough? If he's not big enough, the deer will be able to let go.
Yeah.
Just want people to think before they start shooting. Some people see horns and they just start shooting.
We only got 2 pictures of that deer, so he was.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks good on.
He mixed in. We call him Big 9. I'll show him to you before we leave. But we didn't really. He looked like Big 9 because he was in the area. He had the crab claw. We didn't really. He's more narrow than our Big 9. So it was like, oh, that's him. We've seen him so much. Yeah. So, when Talon saw him, and Talon sent us a video of this deer before he shot it when it was 100 yards away, and we immediately texted back and said, like, was it before or after you killed it? It was after, I think. So, that was for you, right? To distinguish if it was the right deer.
So I text you, and so I killed him, and then I called you, I sent you the video. I said that's him. Yeah. And from far away, you could probably, maybe agree that it was Big 9 just because the crab claw was so distinct that you're like, okay, we haven't seen any other deer. Yeah. We had to see her on camera twice. Right. We had Big 9 time and time again. So like in your head, you're like, yeah, that's him. Mm-hmm. And then, but we only got 2 pictures of a deer. You kind of overlook it. It's like, oh yeah, I see the crab claw. That's him.
Well, we had a borderline buck that we were really trying to hold on to, called Crooked G3, and he wasn't very big, but he had a very unique G3. Right. So we were very particular on like, hey, let's not shoot that deer. So that's why he did that.
Yeah, that's why I videoed him, because we agreed that we weren't going to shoot him. He's a nice deer, but he's not this year's deer. Right. But we're not going to shoot him. And so I couldn't really tell, so that's why I pulled out my phone, kind of snuck a little, zoomed in, saw the crab claw. I said, okay, mine's made up. I'm shooting him. Yeah. And then even because it was just me and Savannah. I didn't get him that night. I called out. I didn't call out of work, but I called my boss. I said, hey man, I shot a deer last night. I got to go get him. And I know he's down, and he let me do that. And me and Savannah went and got him. He looked good when I walked up on him. When I was taking pictures with him, I was like, ground shrinkage, it's real, but then again, I was like, I don't know, he doesn't look as big as in the picture. And then that deer showed up he didn't show himself all season.
Really?
Last day of the season, there he is. I was like, what the hell?
It's crazy.
Well, that's one good thing about the trail cameras that I'll give you, because you can get not only can you try to pattern deer, you can see what kind of bucks that you have, but you can get to know them. You can familiarize yourself with the bucks to where as soon as you see them while you're hunting, hey, that's a buck that I want to shoot. That's this buck we've been looking for. Or that's this buck we're not going to shoot him. You get so used to seeing these pictures of these deer that as soon as you see them in the woods, you're like, all right, I'm not shooting that one. That's this buck. Mm-hmm. And so it does help out. When you have like a target number of bucks, like 4 bucks that you want to shoot, and you familiarize yourself with them, where as soon as you see him in the woods, you're like, all right, he's a shooter immediately.
It kind of takes away that little bit of like, oh shit, that's a huge buck. Like obviously you're still gonna get that, right? But like it kind of gives you the ability.
The G3 buck you're talking about. If you were to see him, walk through the woods or cruising through the woods, you might think to shoot him, but as soon as you see that G3 and that stuff, you're like, all right, he's off limits.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll transition into some questions. All right, we got, obviously, like I told you earlier, we had you on because we think you're a good hunter, right? You kill some good bucks, so we want to hear what you do to have success, right? Not only because I want you to tell your stories, but for us and everybody watching to kind of get some information to kill mature bucks. That's why we're here, right? To kill the good ones and take the ones that we've been trying so hard all year to get, right? So this one's a little bit off the wall, and this is kind of what I've kind of accumulated from watching your stories and just talking to people, talking to talent a little bit. So with following you on Snapchat and Instagram, I see that you like to hunt on the ground.
Absolutely.
All right, especially with the shotgun.
Yeah.
Right. So tell us why you do this and how are you successful with it, and are you able to go after the deer you're looking for? Is this a certain strategy, or just give us everything about it?
Yeah, I know when I was a kid, we didn't have double man ladder stands when I was a kid. We only had single man 4x4, 2x4 stands. So I started hunting on the ground. One thing about hunting on the ground, you're mobile. You're not tied to the deer stand. But I enjoy it because I can just slip in, sit on the ground, scratch a couple leaves out. But the biggest thing is playing the wind. If I'm sitting on the edge of a field and I've got the wind in my face the majority of the time during our deer season, we have a west wind. It's some sort of a west wind, southwest, west, northwest, something like that. So, playing the wind is your biggest factor when you're sitting on the ground, even sitting in the stand. But if I'm seeing deer come out on a corner of a field that we don't have a deer stand, I have a climber. I don't mind using a climber, but I like to just go straight in there and sit down and get quiet. And climber, you clinking and clanging every now and then. But you can go hunt places that you don't have stands. Towards the end of deer season, for instance, if you have ladder stands that are 200 yards apart and you're not seeing deer there anymore like you would in the beginning of deer season, well, the deer can smell that people are in and out of those stands. It's that way you go sit in between them. A lot of times you'll find deer that are moving, just out of sight, just out of range of those stands. And I enjoy sitting on the ground. You do have the problem every now and then where you'll have some deer come up there and get in your face, like does and small bucks that you don't want to shoot, that'll bust you. But I've killed some nice deer sitting on the ground, some really good deer sitting on the ground, just going in, finding the rub line, scrape line, playing the wind the best that I can and killing one that first night. A lot of guys don't like to do it. I don't mind doing it. I enjoy sitting on the ground. And like I said, I've killed some good deer doing it. In the afternoons, your thermals are dropping, they're hitting the forest floor and they're scattering. Well, that's going to happen whether you're in a stand or not.
Right.
You can beat a deer's eyes, but you'll never beat his nose. So if you sit still, you brush yourself in a little bit, deer can walk by you as long as they don't smell you. But that's why if we don't have a stand in a certain spot, I'll just start moving around, looking at where our stands are and sitting in between the stands. And you'd be surprised how many deer you see when you're not sitting in a stand. If you have stands that are 400 yards apart, you go sit dead in the middle of them, you'd be surprised at how many deer you see, because they know. When you've got constant, they're smelling people that are sitting in that stand the next day, just the human scent from walking in, walking out. And they get used to it. They know. They hear people coming in, they smell you, so they start avoiding those certain spots.
Yeah. That makes me think too. When I first started hunting, and I was fairly new, and I had never really shot, a really, really big buck. I was still kind of like really gung ho about shooting whatever. I called Will and I say, hey man, I'm hunting this property in Suffolk, and I said, I don't know where any stands are. He goes, man, get up on a tree, get in the ravine, and just sit there. I was like, okay. Man, I saw some fucking deer.
Yeah.
And
people are scared to sit on the ground.
And guess what? You know what I did? I fucking fell asleep and I woke up. I woke up and there's a deer right there and I shot him. And I wish I wouldn't have, but I shot him. But it's kind of like what I say all the time. Wind is your biggest asset that you can play.
Yeah.
And growing up, I didn't really have anybody to kind of teach me that. I got into the game kind of late.
Yeah.
And, I hunted, random properties here and there. And as I've gotten better at hunting and understanding it better, wind is just, that's my key component. It could, everybody else could be different, but.
Yeah, the wind will hurt you. The problem with the wind is, like some places on my farm, you're hunting a creek bottom.
I know.
The wind swirls all the time. And again, you have deer coming from 360 degrees.
Exactly.
So it's no way that you can, really sit in there and be, have scent control. Because the wind's swirling on these creek bottoms. Even in, low points of fields and stuff, the wind's constantly switching. And, deer, they'll smell you 100 and some yards away. So I mean, it is tough. That's the one thing that, and when you have deer bedding all around you too, it could be deer here tonight, deer there the next day. They're bedding all around. You don't know where they're going to come from. So it's tough. I mean, that's their biggest thing.
I know what you used to do. The one property that backed up to
the river. Yeah, put my back to the river. Yes, as much as I could.
Yeah, I remember you used to do that a lot back in the day.
It kind of stinks too because we don't get to hunt whenever we want, right? Yeah. So it's like if you get a day or two, it's like the wind is bad for this day, but I'm getting trail cam pictures of a monster buck, at this area, and it's like, should I try it, right? Should I just suck it up and do the the scent stuff and try to see if I can outsmart him and maybe he doesn't win me? And it's like, I found out you shouldn't, right? If you've got other properties or other stands to hunt, like, do that, right? It's not worth, because you can really screw your target bucks up
quick.
Yeah.
Sometimes all it takes is one time,
and they're gone. They're off your property. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's tough because, again, if you can hunt every day, like some of these guys, professional guys that do it, obviously they do it the right way. But if you have a Saturday to hunt with your work schedule, it's like, man, I've been watching this deer for a week come out in the daylight. The wind's not the greatest, but let me try it, right? And so, like you said, it's all a matter of if the wind's swirling, where you're at, what's your situation. It's not just the cookie cutter answer of like, hey, like the wind's not perfect, I'm gonna hunt somewhere else. It just all depends on your situation, right? Cookie cooker. That's when you've had a couple of drinks and
the wind will hurt you. Old timer told me one time, when you stop hunting a wind that's good for you and start hunting a wind that's good for a deer, you'll start killing more deer. That. Because when the wind's good for you, it's not good for them. Because if you have the wind in your face and the deer coming out in front of you, it's not good for them. But if you can find that fine line where your wind is blowing near where that deer is, but it's not going to blow exactly where they are. Because a big buck,
you basically cut it in half.
Yeah,
that's how I killed that one.
A big buck is generally going to try to come in somewhere downwind. I've killed bucks and seen bucks hunt them 10, 15 yards inside of a field line, walk around damn near the whole edge of the field, but never step into the field because they're walking around that whole entire field, checking the wind, trying to smell where does have come in or gone out of the field. So, if you can find a wind that's halfway good for you, halfway bad for you, halfway good for them, halfway bad for them, you'll probably kill more deer. Because if he feels like the wind's in his favor, he'll come out. Right. But if he knows it's not in his favor, he may not come out. So but it's hard to do because the wind swirls so much. You can't do it. If you're sitting on a field, some of the best days I think to deer hunt people don't like. But if you have a 10-mile-an-hour constant wind, that the wind's blowing directly out of the west that day. Well, no matter where you sit, it's blowing. It's a constant wind. You can kind of play that.
Yep.
But
that kind of brings me into my question that I wanted to ask is, what's the biggest mistake? You might have already answered it, but like, what's the biggest mistake a hunter can make when they know a big buck's out there, they're trying to hunt them, and obviously wind plays a big factor, like you mentioned, but what's a mistake that, maybe a newer hunter or just like an average hunter, that, he'll make that just kind of loses your opportunity to kill that buck?
Well, hunting on a bad wind is one thing, but like Kyle said, it's a mental thing. When you have a buck coming in there every afternoon, you want to go in there and hunting. But another thing, a lot of people don't think about is how you enter and exit your stand.
Yep.
Are you walking through where the deer are? Are they going to be crossing your path? Can they hear you coming in? And hearing is not that big of a deal. They hear stuff walk all the time. Possums, raccoons, everything's walking on the ground, day or night. So they're used to that. But as far as, how are you entering and exiting your stand? You don't want to be interfering with where they're walking, getting to your stand.
Yep.
But if you have a bad wind, nothing's going to be in your favor. So it's challenging. A deer's nose is tough. You can beat their eyes. You can sit still. You can beat their eyes, but you'll never beat their nose.
Yeah,
I've always said, when deer see you in the stand, all they see is like a big blob up there in the stand. Just a big, some sort of a image up there in the stand. Even if you have camouflage, I've always said if people would get black trash bags, fill them full of leaves, stick them in the deer stand, 2 months before deer season. Deer will get used to seeing a big blob up there in the stand. Then when you deer hunt, use your pull rope, put the bag down on the ground. Then the deer are so used to seeing that big blob up there, they'll walk by and not even check up.
Yeah, that's true.
You get
another good strategy.
I've always thought about
black bag
that.
full of leaves and stick up there. Like I said, they just see a big blob up there. But you get a black bag full of leaves and stick up there, and you'll have them full.
Yeah.
Or you could buy a bunch of blow-up dolls and benefit everybody.
Yeah.
You can,
It's
take it in.
challenging for sure. It can be very tough, especially when your main goal is to shoot this one buck that you want to shoot. He's there, and he just will not cooperate with you. Same thing with the cell cameras. They're just as much as they'll help you and hurt you. You hunt for 3 days, don't see him, and then the first time you go back to work, he's out there where you want him to be at 8:30 in the morning, just standing there.
What's the typical line that we hear from our group? I think the cell cameras are down. There's something wrong with the cell cameras, right?
Yeah, ain't nothing walking in front of
ain't
them.
nothing walking in front of them.
And deer's pattern changed so much with us. Out in the Midwest where they can't run dogs, deer kind of stay on the same pattern. Our deer are constantly changing their patterns, whether it's hunting pressure, dogs,
100%.
everything. Something's always, irritating them. If they're on a farm that gets, or even just hunting pressure. If they're getting pressured every weekend or all the time, they're going to get up and move and go somewhere where they think it's not. That's when your creek bottoms, your swamps, some kind of water. Be around some kind of water. I would think that's where the bigger ones are going to be hanging out around somewhere where as soon as dogs get on them, they can get in the water or right on the side of a road. As soon as dogs jump on, they can get across the road.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Be out of there, but it's challenging. But it's reward. It can be rewarding, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Hunting season for guys like us is a magical time. Something we think about all the time. We enjoy. We all get together, hang out, cut up.
Yep.
It's
whether we
something
kill
a lot of people can't understand either.
It's not about killing. People don't understand. They want. Why do you want to shoot a deer? Well, it's not really about killing the deer. To me, I just enjoy going to my farm and hanging out with my buddies.
Right.
Going deer hunting. Yeah, some days we freeze our butts off, and if you don't want to hunt, you just don't hunt. Hang around.
Right. 100%.
So we'll finish with one more question. I think you'll like this question. So, if deer season was shortened to 1 week and you had all your cell cameras out, right, and you had some knowledge on what you had on your property, deer wise, what week would you pick throughout the whole deer season to go after that mature buck and be confident, whether it's from years past of being successful, or what would be the 1 week that you would go after that mature buck?
It would either be the first or second week in November.
Okay.
From what I've seen, seems like normally the peak of the rut around our area where y'all hunt, Southampton and Sussex, Surrey, is around November 10th each year. It seems like it's about the peak of the rut every year.
Yep.
So the first or the second week, week in November, probably the second week would be what I would take. But, you get some does that come in early, come into estrus early, the big bucks, they're on them. They'll be locked down with them, sometimes before gun season even starts. So a lot of your bigger target bucks are already locked down with does somewhere. And, when you start getting daylight pictures of bucks on trail cameras, it's time to roll.
Yeah.
It's time to be in the woods. When you start catching them, especially if you really want to hunt big bucks, hunt from 10 to 2 in the peak of the rut, first 2 weeks of deer season, hunt between 10 and 2. You'll find the big ones moving. Then that's when you'll ride around and you'll see bucks standing in fields in the middle of the day.
Looking delirious,
just standing in the middle of the field, or they'll be out there with does,
just
checking scrapes, rubs. 10 and 2 is your magical.
Yeah.
But you got to have the anticipation and the patience to want to sit there from dark in the morning until 11:30, 12 o'clock in the middle of the day.
It's hard to do.
It's tough. It's tough. You really got to have anticipation that he's
your dad encountered that this past season. I mean, he saw a giant, and he was. So we hunt beside forestry, and he was just out there late. It was about 10:30 because we hunted late that morning, and he texted me. He said, "There's a giant across
1,000-yard field, just running around like a dog."
Just running for no reason.
Well, you could ride around the middle of the day and see, very big mature bucks in the middle of the day standing in the field. A lot of times, you start seeing them get hit by cars on the road.
That's the telltale of like the rut's end, right?
But when you start getting daytime pictures of mature bucks I mean, you'll get daytime pictures in the summertime, right? Afternoon pictures, morning pictures. But when you start getting pictures of bucks 9, 10 o'clock, 2 in the afternoon, this and that, it's time to be. That's when the big bucks are moving. And the rut's only a couple days. The peak of the rut is only a couple of days when everything just busts loose, and then all of a sudden it just dives down quick.
They're sending the "you up" text right now. Never mind. You know what?
I don't get that.
You up? I mean, they're trying to get it on.
Oh,
you know, back in college where you're like,
and
hey, you up?
That's funny. I like that. And also too, I don't want to get too much into this, but like peak rut, can go into the 15th or 16th, and that's when dogs start running, right? Yeah. So like our peak rut is shortened a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah.
So because even if they're
knocks them off.
Yeah, even if they're in that prime time to where they're just roaming.
Oh, yeah.
The first day dogs get in the woods, it pushes that activity nocturnal, right? So, that's kind of how, we've explained in previous episodes how this area is unique, right?
Yeah.
Because, we get the best of both worlds, but our part of the con to the dogs is cutting our rut short, right?
Yeah.
At least hunting the rut, right? Because even though the deer are a little bit oblivious during the rut, they still know what's going on, right? They're not completely out of it, right?
We've got trucks and hunters and dogs running all over the woods. Deer during the rut, deer are naturally doing what you want them to do.
Exactly.
To get up and move. And move when you want them to move.
Yeah.
Move during daylight.
During the day.
That's when you want to, that's when you're out there.
It's only a couple of weeks they do that in the year, right?
And, so every now and then our deer season will fall the week before Thanksgiving week. Past couple of years it's fallen Thanksgiving week, but every now and then it'll fall the week before Thanksgiving, and that's when some big bucks really get hurt by the dog hunters.
Yeah.
Because the bucks are just up doing what they want to do.
Right.
Like I said, deer are just naturally going to do it at that time. They're moving.
Yeah, because this year, for me at least, I didn't witness really any
rut activity.
Yeah, I didn't witness any. We saw them on the cameras.
Yeah.
But it was, it was dark.
Yeah.
And we had pictures of bucks just fucking trotting at 10 o'clock at night, just running down the road with their nose down. And
I think that's why too. You see the late rut come in December heavy here.
Yeah, 30 days after the first rut is when the second.
Yeah, because like when everything's shooken up, the mid-November with the dogs, right? A lot of deer are separated. A lot of deer huddle down for days at a time. So a lot of those does won't come. They'll not get bred, so they'll have to come in again, right?
Yeah.
So unlike the Midwest and other thing, most of those does are getting bred because it's like you said, it's the natural movement of the deer throughout the whole season, almost. So that's what makes it unique. You see fawns dropping at random times, right? Especially late fawns around this area, and I think that that first week of gun season really can affect a lot of things. People don't realize, right? I mean, I wish they would almost push it back a week, and maybe let them hunt another week into January, right? Again, we all like hunting dogs. You get into mid-December, you're like, F still hunting. At this point, you might as well.
By December, all you're hoping for is just a mean, nasty cold snap to come through. Yeah. Push deer on food. Yeah. And then once they start hitting food, you just start hunting.
That's where he came from. That was
that was a December buck. Dude, that was rutting.
He was that was 100,000,000. I sound like Joe Biden right now. I'm saying 100,000,000.
You had a couple drinks.
Trillion billion %.
So you're a Trump fan?
The second row would be so much better if we didn't have
literally read the room, Kyle. Yeah.
If we didn't have dogs, the second rut would be nice.
Yeah,
but it's like nothing now. You might catch a couple does, but by then they're so cautious as far as moving because they know if their butts get up and move, they got a good chance of getting a dog.
Oh yeah.
So the second row would be a lot better if we didn't have dogs, but it is what it is.
I'm not going to ask my other question that I had, but I do want to kind of bring up something that I just thought about. So, what's your thought on a lot of our big bucks? They bedded down where we parked, where we ate lunch, where we conversated. I mean, is that something that you see often?
No. I mean, bucks will tuck right in behind the house. I mean, they're going to be in places, especially later in the season. They're going to be in places you wouldn't expect them to be. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to like hunting on the ground, you got to think outside of the box. Hey, I've got 5 deer stands over here, but I don't have any over here. Let me go sit over here and see what's going on. You got to start thinking outside of the box. The deer are going to move to areas that aren't pressured. So if it's laying 100 yards behind somebody's house because they don't smell anybody, no dogs are coming through there. They're going somewhere to get away from the pressure.
Yeah.
And then again, they can hear y'all. They know.
We jump so many big bucks.
Oh yeah, like I said, some big ones will lay right beside a road. As soon as they hear a dog come in, they're getting across the road and they're.
See, I think that's something we've got a lot of hard surface road around our area, and every time we leave the hard surface road open, but it's like one guy, and it's like they cross over that one spot where like we said we would cover that last time.
It's like we know it's gonna happen, but we
don't commit to it because it's like
we can't commit to it. It's like it's so hard to, and it's also such a big stretch of road, and it's hard. It's hard to hunt that.
You got to think deer don't live a scared lifestyle, but they live a very cautious lifestyle.
Yes.
Wildlife is only allowed to mess up one time, and then they're dead. When they mess up, they only allowed one mistake in their life, and it's going to cost them their life.
Unless certain hunters are in the woods, and they get another chance.
So when they're laying down, their ears are constantly moving, trying to figure out, there's people over here. I mean, they know where they're not hearing people. Yeah. And when they don't hear people, then that's the direction they're going to go. That's
what kind of helps us. So, like, we hunt kind of like a block of houses. And, like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're blaring their music. They're having a good time, whatever. I've hunted this, we call it the Rose Sand. It's on a hard surface road, and the cars drive back and forth.
It's 10,000 acres of park behind once you cross the hard surface road. That's where we get a lot of our bucks in the rut.
Yeah.
They'll come from that
like
big. Oh, yeah.
Dude, it's awesome.
So it's a cool place to hunt.
So we'll hunt that, and it's like, we're beside the house is kind of weird.
Yeah,
dude, I've seen so many deer in this stand, and they're hooting, they're hollering, they're having a good time. And the deer are just like, that's normal.
Oh, yeah.
And it's awesome because it's like...
Well, they get used to it. They like anything else. They just get acclimated to hearing people move around all the time. They know that people aren't going to mess with them. So
but when it's 30 minutes past legal shooting time and the deer is still there because you're so used to it, you're like, dude, come on. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah. They're smart creatures, that's for sure.
Yeah, especially in our area. They... if you're a 3, 4, 5-year-old deer, you've been educated.
Yeah.
And
smart.
I'll argue this to the day I die. If you hunt in Suffolk, Southampton, or Sussex, at some point, if a deer's that old, they've been run. I don't care what you say. I think there's not a deer that doesn't know what's going on, and that's why these big bucks. Everybody's like, why does this keep happening? Because they know what's going on.
Smart, yeah.
Right.
We killed 2 bucks 2 years back to back. Not this past season, but 2 years ago. 2 years in a row, we killed 2 big bucks that were 7.5 years old. I mean, that deer's got some age on him, and he's smart. And they both got killed during the rut. One was open today at deer season. The other one was the second week of bow season, which was the week before gun season. Mm-hmm. And you think a deer to be 7.5 years old? He's had some dogs on him. He's probably been shot at.
Oh yeah.
But they know they're extremely cautious. Like I said, I don't think deer are scared. I think they live a cautious lifestyle.
Absolutely.
They have to think before everything they do. And, when you got swamps and creeks, the big bucks are going to they'll find an island. I mean, deer will stand out there all day long just to get away from the dogs. But, 7.5 years of being in the wild and being eluding all the hunters, all the dogs out there.
It's a lot of education.
He's got some brains between his ears, I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And that's why it makes it so interesting to hunt these animals. Yeah. It's like it's not easy. People that don't know what we do, they're like they just go out there and kill. And you could go out there and kill the doe pretty much whenever you want. But no, a lot of people I know, they go after the mature bucks. It is a sport. And I know y'all. And most everybody I know, we eat all the deer that we kill, right? But like. It is a sport, it's you're trying to outsmart a deer that has the advantage, right?
Yeah, well, as we evolve, they have to evolve. You know what I mean? They've got to, if they didn't, we'd kill them all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's an addiction, that's for darn sure. And it's crazy, we get up early in the morning to go to work every single morning, and And on the weekends when we have an opportunity to sleep in, we still choose to get up early and go sit in the cold to try to kill a deer.
There's nothing.
There's something about that getting up on a Saturday that's a little bit easier than getting up on a Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, getting up to go hunt and getting up to go to work is just not even close to being the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time. Then it allows us to do stuff like this too.
Yeah.
You know, when it's out of season.
Yeah.
You know, it's always a good time.
It's a 12-month game, you know.
It is.
12 months
It
out
is.
of the year, I'm thinking, I'm preparing,
Yeah.
trying to see, do what I can do to be better and
Amen.
and keep the deer on my place instead of the neighbor's place.
That's the goal. A lot of the food plot stuff coming in effect here pretty soon, right? So
Yeah.
maybe we'll have
gotta
you
get out there soon and fix some cameras and kind of
all the stuff you got to do. But yeah, man, we'll wrap it up at that. And I definitely want to have you on again. You know, maybe
absolutely. I've enjoyed it.
as we get closer to maybe turkey season, or as we get closer to deer season, we'll have you back on.
maybe get a plan a hunt together.
Do something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to put record and post some stuff when deer season comes back on. So if you're ever interested in that, let us know. But yeah, that was fun. We appreciate you coming on. I learned a lot just from listening to you.
Yeah,
so
thank y'all for having me. I enjoyed it. It's cool.
That's why we want you on. Me and Kyle both know that you know a lot.
Yeah.
And I know you're very humble about it, but we look at you as probably one of the best deer hunters around.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, I've just been lucky and been fortunate to grow up and have a place to hunt that, like you, has good genetics and stuff like that. But
still got to do everything right though.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
Luck is a little bit of it, but you still know your shit.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta be on your P's and Q's when you're trying to get them for sure. You can't
100%.
just step out there and expect to whack them.
Amen. But for some reason we don't see you again. I wish you the best of luck for your next season. We'll definitely keep in contact.
This season will be successful. I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah. We gotta get a little better at calling, but that's the name of the game for turkey hunting, right? So that ain't it. We ain't doing mouth calls no more.
Turkey's got a brain the size of a pea and can outthink anybody. You know what I mean?
Tell you what,
Same.
it's the opposite of deer. You can out hear turkey. You can't outsight them.
No, they're another one. If they had noses, you wouldn't kill it.
No, absolutely not.
If they could smell you, you'd never kill a turkey.
It's wild, but yeah, man, I appreciate having you on, and
thank y'all. I've enjoyed it.
we'll keep everything like what we're doing, and keep us updated on your deer season and everything, and
for sure.
we'll jump back on again.
Yeah, awesome.
Got anything else?
No, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you. I've enjoyed it. It was fun.
Bringing on the Ferguson
It's nice to sit around and drink a beer and
Heck
talk
yeah.
hunt with you guys.
Drink.
I say
A little
it
bit too much.
I say it almost every episode. It's like my girlfriend doesn't want to hear me talk about hunting season. It's nice to get a couple dudes in here.
Get it out.
Just let it out.
I love
That's
it. I love it. All right, well, we'll see everybody next week.
All right.
Yeah.